My name is Ian, and I'm a coach with Man Man Lai. Man Man Lai in Mandarin Chinese means slowly, slowly come, or take it easy. So if you're starting something new, like you've set some new goals, or you're working on a new skill, remember to take it easy on yourself and go one day at a time, which is a mantra in recovery programs, but also something that comes up often in mindfulness practice. And today I want to talk about a teaching that I have been learning from a teacher named Joseph Goldstein, and it's around a Buddhist concept of Vedanā, or feelings. And what he talks about is the fact that in English, we've got almost 13 or 14 different definitions for what the word feeling means. It could be something physical, something emotional, or just a state of being, right? I feel fine, or my arm feels some pain today, or I'm feeling really depressed, right? These are all different ways that we use the word feeling. But in this concept in Buddhism called Vedanā, there are three tones of feeling: pleasantness, unpleasantness, and neutrality. And the big idea here is that when we initially feel something that's pleasant or something that's unpleasant, there isn't much of a nature in these feelings. There isn't really a good or bad nature in something being pleasant or being unpleasant or being neutral. But in fact, we sort of ascribe meaning to that feeling, and that's where a lot of the trouble and the suffering of life comes from. So, for example, you can look at it like this. The pleasant or unpleasant feeling, when it happens, is like a dart that's shot into you, right? And it may be a little bit painful, or maybe it feels good. But when we react to that painful feeling, or we react to that pleasant feeling, and we ascribe meaning to it, we say, hey, this shower is really cold. I hate cold showers. I want to get out of it, right? We actually shoot a second dart into ourselves, and that second dart is optional, but it's also much more painful than the first dart. So we're choosing to take a second shot that's a lot more painful. And when that second dart that's much more painful hits you, a lot of times your reaction is to escape that pain, escape that extreme unpleasantness. And that's where a lot of addiction and addictive patterns come from, right? Trying to escape the discomfort and unpleasantness of our lives on a daily basis. So what can we do about that? Well, we can develop a mindfulness practice around recognizing when that first dart is shot into us. Okay, and this is all day long. Think about how many times during the day you're doing something to get out of a state of discomfort, whether it's just adjusting how you're sitting, or having a cup of coffee in the afternoon because you're feeling sluggish. These are all things that we're doing to sort of modulate our current state. And usually I feel tired. Ooh, I don't like this feeling. This is a bad feeling. I know I can have some coffee. That'll wake me up. Boom. And I'm addicted to coffee, right? So it's an addiction, it's a dependency. Or take, for example, I go to the store Trader Joe's, and I walk in and I see the price on avocados this month, and instantly I'm just angry, a little bit pissed off, and I don't like that feeling, right? And so I'm like, boom, I know, I'm gonna buy a perfect bar. The peanut butter chocolate chip perfect bars are so delicious, and I'm gonna eat it, and it's gonna make me feel happy. It's gonna make me feel better, right? But I also know that those things have a lot of sugar in them, and sugar for me causes all sorts of problems. But it's gonna make this little bit of unpleasantness where I'm irritated with how expensive avocados are at Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's, if you're listening, why your avocado's so expensive right now, it's gonna make that feeling go away for a moment. And then there's gonna come all this other discomfort from my stomach not feeling well, me feeling congested, me having a crash after I eat the sugar, right? But in the moment, I'm escaping that discomfort, and that's what I'm going for. But instead, what I could have done is, as soon as I had that second feeling of, I'm angry because the avocados are so expensive, right? That's that second dart hitting me. That's where that real pain comes from. Not from the avocados being too expensive, from me having that discomfort, that visceral reaction to the price, right? That's that second more painful and optional dart hitting me. If I had paid attention to that, it could have reminded me to go back to the first feeling, which is, avocados are more expensive than I'd like them to be. And I could have just met that feeling with some equanimity and said, it's not good, it's not bad, it just is. And that's okay. I'm aware of there being discomfort and I let it pass, right? Now all of a sudden I'm not attached to anything, it just is, okay? And that second dart, when it hits you, if you pay attention to it, and this is something that Joseph Goldstein says, it can be a mindfulness bell, right? It can be that bell that tells you, hey, I missed something here. I've allowed myself to go into that reactive state where I'm gonna probably go down that path of addiction pretty quickly. So recognize it, become aware, and then if you can, just let it go. So how can we develop this practice, right? Because what we notice is, I can become aware of one thing. Maybe if I put a lot of effort into it, I can hear that mindfulness bell, I can jump back to the feeling. But doing it as a regular daily practice takes time, right? It's sort of like the reconditioning of our minds, right? Our minds are plastic, and learning new behaviors takes a lot of time to get our brains to start developing these new practices. So one thing you can do is maybe take a cold shower, right? If you're into the whole Wim Hof, the Iceman thing, or maybe just go outside if it's really cold, but expose yourself to something that's a little bit uncomfortable for a prolonged period of time, right? Maybe something that takes 5 minutes. Go outside on a cold day in shorts for 5 minutes, sit down in a chair and just feel the cold, but don't judge it. Don't react to it. Just be aware of it. Don't ascribe meaning. Don't say this is good or this is bad. Just sit there and accept it. Be present in that moment. And you'll notice that the more you practice, because mindfulness does take practice, the more it will become naturally a part of how you are. And you might notice that it's like going to sleep. So you might have these periods of time where you become reactive and you're like becoming more addictive and you're eating shit and you're, smoking or you're drinking or you're getting angry and emotionally triggered by all these things, right? That's what we call trance. You're going into a moment, a period of trance, and that might be a day, it might be a week, it could be months or years. But when we start realizing, hey, I'm really taking all these shots, these darts to my chest, and I'm just like totally trying to escape all this pain, and we go back to where that feeling originally started, right? And we have that awareness, we'll wake up. All of a sudden you come out of trance. And that may be only for 5 minutes. Maybe when you first start this practice, you can only do that for 5 minutes in a day. But that's where you start. That's the beginning. And slowly with practice, you'll make that into 10 minutes during the day, maybe in 2 different times. Maybe it'll get to 15 minutes. But slowly, those periods of trance become shorter and the periods of being awake become longer, with the goal of, trying to stay awake as often as possible. But don't beat yourself up if you find that, man, I've been asleep for 2 days after I was doing so well being aware and mindful for a long period of time, because that's just how it goes, right? Life always is going to be throwing curveballs that kind of shoot you back into reactivity. And that's something that you should be meeting with equanimity and acceptance as well, is that we're not perfect, right? So we're going to make mistakes. Don't attach to that. Don't say, oh man, I fucked up, and beat yourself up. Just say, oh, I fucked up. This is how it feels to fuck up. I'm aware of that. Okay. And then move past it, because that's going to hold you back if you get hung up on that. You just have to learn how to kind of let things go. So anyway, take it easy. manmanlai.org if you're interested in coaching services. I have a 30-day alcohol-free challenge that I'm kicking off right now. You can learn more at the website manmanlai.org/30-day-challenge. Follow me at Addiction Coach on Instagram and at manmanlai.org on Facebook. Thanks for listening.